Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, we gather our information from, many different places and many different people. So if you hear yourself in our conversation today, please remember, it is not all about you. Now, today we have Miss Robin. How you doing today, Miss Robin?
I am terrific.
And I understand that we're going to talk about a topic that could be a little dicey. What do you think?
It can be. It can be a little dicey. We're going to have some ideas about that too.
All right. Well, let's take and talk about it. What we've got up here on the screen for us to talk about today is what has happened to our families. And quite frankly, what Robin and I are noticing that, families don't spend much time together anymore.
No,
and it
true.
seems to be creating problems in our country.
And we also want to start by saying this is not a new thing.
No.
When we thought back about it, it's been happening for decades.
Right. I think it's been carrying on, and
yeah,
and that's the hurtful part of it, I believe.
I think that's the part we didn't pay attention to.
Well, what we're thinking and seeing is that, of course, as years have gone past, we've both seen families kind of fall apart. A friend and a pastor of mine said he believed that when families stopped some vital traditions, the family soon drifted apart and went their separate ways to live their lives. Now, he had a whole list, by the way, and we've kind of got some of them here to talk about. I did not put them all in because I didn't think they were all relevant.
Oh,
Relevant. So,
relevant, yeah.
So the first one that he brought up, and it was high on his list, was Sunday dinners.
Sunday dinners.
Now, Robin and I enjoy a television program where it shows the family getting together every Sunday.
Yeah.
And having dinner, and they take turns making the dinner.
Right. And they pitch, everybody pitches in. It's not one person's responsibility.
And really what you know is, quite frankly, it's a real family. They don't always get along. They don't always agree.
Right.
There's some tension oftentimes, but
they have their sub rules about things they can't talk about and they do talk about, and that's probably a good idea.
I love it when Grandpa says, "We're at the dinner table."
The dinner table.
And that solves the situation.
And whatever subject starts to come up, if it's not appropriate for the dinner table, it's going to create so much anger and things like that, then it can't be discussed there.
I still think that's the biggest part about it is learning how to agree to disagree and still remain friends.
Right. And not to say things that are intentionally going to upset somebody. I think that's part of it.
Or
also.
Intentionally hurtful.
Hurtful, right.
And I think that's the thing about Sunday dinners that, quite frankly, as growing up as a kid, we had Sunday dinners every Sunday at our house, and Grandma and Grandpa came, and many times it was the same, pork chops and sauerkraut because we were German.
You're German, yes. Now, my family, on the other hand, was not so traditionally any from any original country. We've been here longer than that. But Sunday dinners as a child were frequently at my grandmother's house. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be roast beef.
Okay.
Mashed potatoes, gravy, and all that, wilted lettuce, things like that. But my grandparents have been hosting through most of their marriage, family members that used to just drop in on Sunday for dinner, and whatever the roast was, it had to feed everybody. And I have the lead cut glass dish that my grandmother made the coleslaw in every Sunday because cabbage was cheap, and she could make this big bowl of coleslaw, and if you were still hungry after the meat and potatoes ran out, you could fill up on coleslaw.
There you go.
So I feel special. I actually got to keep that. But that was, you never knew who was going to drop in. And I thought afterwards, you wouldn't do that now. You wouldn't drop in at someone's home intentionally at dinner time without being invited.
Well, it was funny.
Then you did.
My uncles used to just drop in.
Right, okay.
And there was always another chair pulled up and another plate put down, and
no discussion.
Made a deal about it. I will tell you, though, as a kid, I can remember some heated conversations about politics, about religion, about people who was working a job or didn't have a job or weren't working.
Okay.
And I always remember this. My grandfather could stop all conversation strictly by not saying anything. If
like not adding to or
if Grandpa got
making
real
it
quiet,
stop.
you knew that you
Someone
had
had
stepped over
crossed.
the line,
Somebody
and
crossed
it
the
was
line.
time to either apologize or
Shut
figure
up.
a way to take and make that happen.
Yes. And my family, because I was 7, we moved south. We didn't have that, and our families never, either side of my family, never discussed religion, politics, or money.
Well, I have to tell you, when my grandfather passed away, quite frankly, most of the Sunday dinners went away.
Yeah, he was probably the
I
person
think that
behind
was his. And then my older sister Carol, she really tried to hold that when she was in town. When she got married and she moved back here, she still tried to insist and kind of make that happen.
Encourage. It didn't happen.
But it just didn't happen.
And I think the other thing that happened when I was a child, when we first moved here, we were part of a new church development community, and the pastor would have periodically someone over to their home for dinner. Then they would have them back another Sunday for Sunday dinner. But it wasn't the same as when it was every week with family, because it was so spasmodic. I would also say that I think because after we got married, your parents weren't doing any kind of stuff like that. And my mom and dad had gotten out of the habit. I know every once in a while, the first year we were married, I would call every couple weeks and say, what's going on, and literally finagle an invitation to Sunday dinner, because my grandparents were down for the winters.
Right.
And that and I felt like once a month they should invite us for dinner. So that was special. So our children did not experience that.
No. But the thing we've always done is when our children were here, we always ate together.
Yeah, dinners were on a schedule.
We're on a schedule, and I'm not going to say maybe I did. I kind of demanded that everyone showed up for dinner. Until they started working and things, they were going their own way. But even then, we tried our best to maintain that.
At that point, when the older child went to work, and he worked 2 or 3 nights a week, probably wasn't home for dinner, we tried to plan things for dinner when he was home that he liked. The things he didn't like very well, we ate when he wasn't home. The same thing when the other child went to work. We would sit with the weekly schedule, and I would plan the menus down one side, and whatever other things they were going, who was working, who was home, when there was a basketball game that the one kid was playing, or whatever was going on. Was a scout meeting, the other one somebody needed to go to. It was all on this weekly calendar that I used to print out every week. To keep track, and they could look ahead and say, I'm going to be home. I don't work this night. Mom's not making anything I don't like for dinner, which was kind of nice. I will also say that, you ready to go into the next? Okay, killer. When our kids were in youth group at church, at that time, youth group was on Sunday night. Well, we were kids. Youth group was at Sunday night. My mom just made dinner after church. The roast went in on time bake. So it was ready when we got home. But youth group was on Sunday nights. So I think if you had a family that wasn't accustomed to having their big meal on Sundays at noon or 1 o'clock or something, that kind of killed Sunday dinner on Sunday, which was probably the one day when everybody was home.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that youth groups meeting on Sunday night was a smart move.
Well, I think there again, it's all in the planning.
It's in the planning, expectations.
If youth group is going to be a Sunday night, then you had your big meal at lunch. And that's not a big.
Or maybe the family meal was Friday night or Saturday night. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But you see, I think that it's making the effort. It's putting in being intentional about a family sitting down and eating together.
Right.
It's an intentional piece that this young pastor I was talking to really started to. It was funny, as more he talked, the louder his voice got. Kind of like
he was excited.
Kind of like when I do.
Yeah.
But he was just so adamant that there was no intentionality for the family to sit and eat and have a conversation together.
Well,
that's what bothered him.
And did your family have this rule? We all met at the table and passed the food around, and nobody started eating until the food was all passed. The other part of this was no one left the table until everyone was finished. And part of that was because Mom wanted to know what us kids were doing. And if we were out of the kitchen, she couldn't see us and didn't know what we were doing. And that was the expectation. And that was the same thing with our children. We sat down, ate at the same time. And then when we were all done, we were excused and went off.
Yeah, that was just kind of the same rule.
Yeah.
As far as eating goes, when Grandpa was alive, he served everybody's plate.
Oh, my grandfather did that too. He cut the
And
meat.
I,
Yes, he carved at
still
the
remember
table.
that. When he passed
Mhm.
away, it was catch as catch can.
Oh, well, my dad didn't like to do
That's why I
that.
like chicken wings so much.
Okay, yeah, get the wing.
Yeah.
My father preferred to carve on a cutting board at the
Uh-huh.
counter and not have to carve at the table. And that may or may not have been what his father did. I don't know.
My father never.
But my grandfather
No.
also carved, and that meant Thanksgiving dinners when there was a lot of people there. You waited a while and hoped those casseroles, you hoped the gravy stayed hot, because that was up north, and things like that. But that was the way he did it. And at that time, back in the '60s, on a Sunday, my grandfather wore a long sleeve shirt and a tie while he was carving the roast. That was the '50s and early '60s, and that's the way it was done. I think that would be weird in 2019.
I
I
don't
think it
know.
would be weird, but I
I
think
don't think so.
a family that was intentional about getting that going again
Mhm.
possibly could create a current better opportunity for that. But it was on Sundays, men went out in suits and ties. I mean, you didn't go out, even if they worked at a factory all week, they wore a
Right.
suit and tie on a Sunday.
So the next thing that's on this list, quite honestly, is this family separated by miles.
Right.
And this is something that an older person that I interviewed about this said that she, quite frankly, she has children who live in Wisconsin. She has children who live in California, children who live in Utah. And they're all, that's quite a long ways for her to find some way to travel. She's in her 90s. And they don't come here that often unless she's sick or in the hospital.
She can't enjoy them then.
So it's the miles.
Miles.
And I think that when I was younger, didn't seem as that many people would grow up in the town and move out. They kind of stayed close or somewhere near. They married someone who was in the general area and those kind of things. And so there was this closeness that happened.
The bonding.
But now, I mean, goodness gracious. You might marry someone that's halfway across the world.
To back up on this, when our son got married, we talked about, hey, we all need to get together. Let's just make a point to get together once a month, usually probably on a Sunday because that's when everybody was generally off, and have a meal together. And he said his wife came from a different kind of family background, and they said, look, we need a year to find out who we are and what our marriage is going to be like and what our is going to be like. So it didn't happen. It happened for a little while with our daughter, and then people get busy and things don't happen. So again, it doesn't have to be every weekend Sunday. It could be once a month. It could be float around, but it needs to be intentional about getting people together if you can.
Again, I think that's what he was trying to. This young pastor was trying to really get at was this intentionality of the situation. So even if you're separated by miles, there's something, and we're gonna cover that in just a few minutes. So
okay, we're gonna cover family reunions. It's not on my list. On that list, we'll cover family reunions.
Cover family reunions. Just do it right now. I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna type it in as we're doing.
I don't know how many of y'all grew up having family reunions. I know my dad's family had a reunion every summer at a park by where we all lived. And his family had been in that area for, I don't know, I think 200 years. I'm not exaggerating. So there's a lot of extended family. They had a big reunion every year, but I can also tell you that I don't remember ever going to it. I mean, to saying it, I remember going and saying, like, your job is to bring the creamers and the sugar for the coffee, and dropping off sugar bowls and creamers because he probably had to go to work because Sundays was not his day off. He worked shift work for the power company, and he works weekends. So I think we didn't. Of course, my mother was not interested at all, and she used the excuse that she had another baby at home and should not go. My mother's family never had a family reunion that we ever heard about. Your family
we used to have
started them when our kids were really little. Oh, you all had them in Ohio too.
We had them until Grandpa passed away, and then my sister Carol tried to reiterate them or re-energize, and it just didn't fly.
It was your mom and her sister and brother that said we need to have a family reunion. They started it, but they only do them every 2 years, which was doable for the first three. And one took charge of one, and it kind of spread it around. But after that, they kind of dissolved. And I think it's because we all got so busy and our kids got older.
Well, and people
they didn't want to plan it
were
anymore.
moving on. There was North Carolina, there was Jacksonville, Florida, there was...
and then Jacksonville moved to California.
And then one family went to Japan, and so it really started to strain out. And that's why this thing, separated by miles, I believe it's an imperative piece. But
you have, again, if you're setting up a reunion and you want to keep people together, all the cousins and the whatever, aunts, uncles, whoever, whoever you're going back to as being the patriarch and the matriarch, you have to make those decisions about how often you're going to do it and what the expectations are and what they're going to look like.
Yeah. Okay.
And make those. And there's a lot of things when we could go into all kinds of things, and make it affordable. So not everybody can afford a Disney World week. Trust me, it's very expensive. But make it affordable for everyone and things like that. So. Yeah. Okay.
So the next thing on the list is family deaths, and as we go through our ages and stages, there's no doubt about it that this creates a situation where those Sunday dinners really start to not be there.
Yeah, they get smaller and smaller.
The older people I'm talking to are more experienced. I'm not going to say old anymore, but
older than us.
The more experienced they're lonely and they're by themselves.
Right.
And so Robin and I added one on here that wasn't on the original list, and it's called Family by Choice.
Right.
And the family by choice is choosing to have other people in your life that might not be blood relative, but can be as close as family that you could have those Sunday dinners with and share those type of opportunities.
Well, and it's not just Sunday dinners. A lot of this started because a lot of us spend a lot of holidays alone.
Right.
And it seems really weird. But the last thing I want to do on a Christmas, Thanksgiving, or Easter is go out for dinner. It just seems wrong on every level.
I am
to me. I know other people think it's very easy to do, and I don't mind cooking dinner for any of those holidays. You can come to my house anytime you want. And a few years ago, we started inviting friends for holidays who, the one couple has no children. They really have no children, and they live here. And they were very happy to come for Thanksgiving dinner. Now, the first year, I have to tell you, she's from the South, and I'm from the North. So she had to bring the cornbread dressing, because I have no idea how to even make it. And the gravy, because she didn't trust me to make gravy. When they came the next year, she said, I can do cornbread at home because you give me turkey to take home. Don't worry about that. I'll eat your dressing. Your dressing's good. And the gravy was awesome, so I'm not going to mess with that either. But so it's important, I think, to get together with people that are alone. And we're expanding that list this year to people that we know that are probably alone because a lot of them are too old to travel for family. They retired to Florida 30 or 40 years ago. They're too old to travel for family. They don't want to be up north in the cold. They don't want to travel. They don't want to do that. And they're okay with being home alone, but they'd rather be with somebody else. So keep those things in mind. And it's okay because sometimes if you have family that is argumentative and hasn't learned how to get along, having people that aren't family at your table can calm that all down.
But
and we've done that for a lot of years. We had people that really, I mean, I've said to people that I knew were going to be alone, you can either sit home alone or dinner's at 2. And I've had a phone call at 2:30 one year. It says, is it too late? I go, well, hey, we're clearing up. We'll leave all the leftovers bowls on the kitchen table. Come on in and have a blast.
Yeah.
And he ended up staying most of the time. They will stay. Your family's going to come and stay for
a long time.
2 hours. Your friends will come. They'll go, hey, this is better than being home alone. And they stay through until they're ready for a turkey sandwich.
Well, Michael used to stay and help do the dishes. So
right, that was helpful.
I was always thankful to see Michael show up late.
So it was nice. He was handy.
He was fine.
But it was nice to be able to share the holidays with people who were, again, for whatever reason, nowhere to go.
I think family by choice is a huge piece in our social world today.
Right.
With people being, very far apart, living far apart, different areas and whatnot.
Or just life changes.
But I want to touch on one subject that really I want to share with you. Do not let people, old disagreements that happened 20, 30 years ago.
Get over it.
Hold you back from having a dinner with your family.
Right.
We all do, well... I'm going to speak for myself. I did some dumb stuff when I was younger, okay? And I've had to apologize for it or move on. Now, yeah, that's just part of growing up
Mhm.
and getting over it and moving on. So don't let that
Well,
hold you back.
that's back to the forgive us our debts or our trespasses as we forgive those.
You know,
Okay,
the
and
neatest
it's real.
conversations that we have had here
It's
at the
real.
house have been when we've invited people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and they didn't, they just showed up to have a dinner. And the
Right.
conversations that you have, the things that you learn, gosh, they're fun, they're exciting, and you know what? It makes the
It
day
brings joy.
special.
It brings joy. Years ago, probably, let's go back 25,
I don't know.
20, a little over 20, back to 25, maybe even 30 years before. And we started opening up Christmas Eve
Yep, I was going to
with,
bring that up.
okay, with chili. And honestly, this is what we would do. We make a huge pot of chili. Invite everyone that you met at church, that you did it ahead of time, whatever you were doing, come back to your house for chili and just socializations and conversations. And it was simple. Honestly, I would make a taco dippy, kind of a 7-layer dip. We kept it, I know we're not Mexican or Hispanic, but we kept it that way. Okay, so that was that. And we had chili. We had chili with all kinds of toppings. You could do whatever you wanted with it. And we had Christmas cookies.
And
And
you know what the fun part for me was is people came and went.
it came
They'd
and went.
come for a bowl of chili and some conversation, and they would
And
go
they
and
would
do
pass
something
on,
else, and
and
they would
someone
come
else
over.
would come in.
You know,
The interesting year, though, was the year our friends had Chinese.
oh
They
yeah,
had a Chinese couple that were here to learn how to do cooking or something, and they were at one of those Christian
hospice,
Christian kind of thingy things, and they had it for Christmas. They brought these Chinese people who did not speak English to our house for Christmas Eve. It was
chili.
hysterical.
They'd
So
never
they're
had
eating
chili.
they're eating chili and Christmas cookies, and they're having a really good time. So keep those things open and available, because that was we loved it. A lot of times the day after that, we're driving 2 hours up to my mom and dad's for dinner, or they're coming down here and we're cleaning up everything from chili and getting ready for a ham or turkey or something. But those were times I really liked. They just came in and you had a nice time. It was enjoyable. It was social. It was something to do on Christmas Eve besides go home and watch White Christmas.
The young pastor was really trying to say this: is that the socializing over a meal brings people together. It brings joy to the person who, like Robin, who loves to cook, and it brings joy to the people that have some place to go.
Right.
So we're now coming up on that season.
Right.
We're coming up to
It's mid-October.
Thanksgiving won't be too far down the run, and then Christmas, and then New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
All those things that are important things to celebrate.
Right. And remember to celebrate them.
And the Robin are trying to encourage you is, don't do it alone.
Right.
If you don't have someplace to go, invent one.
Invite somebody.
Invite yourself somewhere else.
But the main thing is that to know that you have choices to be home alone, or you find somewhere to go, or you create a place for people to come.
Right.
And that's very important.
We're going to do chili again on Christmas Eve, so if you happen to be by, you can stop in and you'll get a bowl.
We usually do chili on Christmas Eve. The pot has gotten much smaller the past few years because the people that came to those original, your church, when your church has explosions, you lose friends.
Yeah.
That was kind of sad. And then the couple of years, one year our son and his wife had a couple of years, they had chili Christmas Eve. Come on over. We're not going to church, but why don't you come over after your church? And then the first year our daughter moved down on her own, her kitchen was only big enough for 3 people, and the 3 of us went to her house, and she did chili. I mean, it was like, this is our tradition, and we're gonna go forward with it. So we'll see what happens. I think we had chili there one year for Christmas dinner, actually.
We did.
It's like, hey, let's just have, and it's fine. It's fine. Find out what you want the new traditions to be and what you don't want them to. I will tell you one of our Sunday dinner plans several years ago that did backfire, though. I decided that I wanted to have more than the 4 of us for Sunday dinner on Sundays.
Okay.
And I had one kid moved out and maybe one in college, whatever. Anyway, we started inviting just another family or a couple people from church just to come over on Sunday and have dinner after church. Again, the oven has time bake. Everybody's oven by this point must have a time bake feature. The food goes in the oven and you pull it out and everything is cool. You invite them over for dinner. But they were, and I had and we flat out told them, you do not have to invite us back. This is what we want to do. It's a way to socialize, and we're not doing a whole lot of stuff. We're like empty nesters and stuff. Please come Sunday for dinner. So after about 3 weeks, the three groups that came said, this was lovely, but we're not coming back because we don't want to invite you back, and we know we're supposed to. You're not supposed to. So that really did backfire badly on us.
In other words, if you get an invitation,
take it for what it's worth. You don't
know,
have to.
If you feel like you want to invite them back, do. But I don't think that's an expectation that's in there anymore.
I think that's gone. And like I said, we didn't expect it. We really liked doing it.
So
but it didn't work. So not everything may work for you. And if it doesn't work, try something else.
What has happened to the family? And what has happened is I don't believe we're as intentional about keeping the family in some kind of way together.
Right.
Or if the family is out kind of encouraging ourselves to, it's okay to have associate member families.
Again, family members by choice. Yeah.
I like associate members. That's good.
Associate family members. And it's been fun because even if you only get together for holidays and stuff, it's okay. Remember that year we did except for Christmas dinner, I think we did all the holidays at a different county park.
Oh, that was fun.
Now, by that time, the extended family at that time was huge.
Yes.
Because we had kids with in-laws. We had friends whose kids had in-laws. And when the family was growing, it honestly would not fit anybody's house. And we just started out at Thanksgiving, because for years we camped Thanksgiving weekend. It was hysterical. And I remember Kim bringing a boyfriend home from college and him going, you people are doing what? Well, we're taking all of the food out to a park and the canoe, so we have something to do when we're there. We're just going to have dinner with 20 or 30 people.
You got to take the canoe, right?
Got the canoe, and the first year wasn't any problem. The second year we had problem getting a shelter. Evidently word spread. But we did all the honey holiday. We're just like, okay, we put somebody else would be in charge of it, and they say pick the place, tell us when to be there, and who's bringing what food. That was great.
And you show up.
And you show up and you have a nice time, and that was good for a year. And one extra Thanksgiving, and then people went, no, we're not doing this anymore. You're nuts. It was fun for a year, not fun anymore. But it was a good time. It was interesting.
Well, we'll report back to you after the holidays and tell you how it went. But
we'll do the big evaluation.
Robert and I really want to encourage you to understand that your blood family is not the only family that you can ever have.
Right.
Your church family is always there. Your organizational family, there's some people that that needs or could be together on that holiday.
Right.
So don't waste it. Enjoy it. Find joy in everything you do, and really put some, maybe a little bit of
planning.
Okay, I don't think it takes a whole lot, but a little bit's okay.
And don't stress. I mean, everybody needs to go and have a good time.
Yeah.
But I don't think you need to stress over a whole lot of stuff.
That's why I like the chili, because it was like, that's when I smoke a big hunk of meat too, it's pretty easy. You put it on there and you watch it for 12 hours. And you got 5 minutes left.
You watch it. Okay, I wanted to tell you what I heard this morning.
Okay, go.
Was a 12-year-old at our church had a birthday, and she planned her whole slumber party.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole themey thing. So, again, if she was my kid, her mom doesn't cook. Her dad cooks. Mom does not cook. But for the 12-year-old to plan her whole slumber party, down to what we're eating and how we're getting our prizes and everything. Hey, you know what? She's the best one to plan Thanksgiving as far as I'm concerned.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So keep that in mind. It was awesome.
I see our time has come to a close like usual. So on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and Robin Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you have received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Give us a phone call, 727-422-1833. Send us an email, dick@ewfw.org, robin@ewfw.org. Go to our website, spend some time. There's a little place to send us a note there, www.ewfw.org. And you know what? When you know for sure that you could invite us to come and do a leadership opportunity at your location for all those wonderful people that you love, please do it quickly. Get on our phone call and make that appointment, and we'll make it happen. Well, until next time, I see we're really closing out quickly. So until next time, this is DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.